Okay, guys, it's 5 a.m. and I'm just getting in the car, right? Just finished my last overnight shift. And tonight was basically a mini series. What a night I had, right? But it was a fabulous night, right? Not many people would think it was fabulous. But as a driver, you have to expect unexpected things to happen all the time, right? Tonight, right, it started off as the whole sky was lit up with weird colors, right? And I'm like, what is going on, right? I mean, it was white, it was purple, it was just insane, right? So when I get to New Brunswick, right, Stackville, New Brunswick, where I'm gonna meet my coworker and switch vehicles, right? I get there, I go in the gas station, I see Bruce, right? Because he's a lovely man at that gas station. And then I'm talking about the lights in the sky, right? Bruce, did you see any of them lights, right? He didn't see any. I'm like, well, when my coworker gets here, maybe I should get him to drop me off at the hospital. So then I'm going to get my coffee because I'm there first, right? So, you know, I go to the McDonald's, which is in the same parking lot, right? But you can't put the truck into that drive-through, right? So you can just walk up, right? And I, you know, knock and I'm leaning on the window and I'm like, hey, how's it going tonight? You got some fresh coffee? And they do, right? They're wonderful. So I order my coffee and I'm waiting. And a gentleman comes, right? He's ordering his stuff, whatever. And when I go to get mine, I walk back over to the window and the lady goes, the guy in front of you paid for you. I'm like, really? You know, I'm just standing there. I'm like, that is so wonderful, right? But I didn't realize the night was going to get a little more crazier at that point, right? Because it was all wonderful up to then. My coworker shows up. You know, we're shooting the shit. I always put my stuff in the passenger side, right? Which I did again tonight. I put my stuff in the passenger side and he walks over to my vehicle. So then when I walk over to the driver's side, the doors are locked. I'm like, doors are locked. He goes, you got the key? I'm like, well, no, it's inside. Why is it even locked, right? Like, I went in the passenger side. Well, what? Doesn't matter now, right? Like, you know, what are we going to do? He's a newer driver too, right? So what do you think we do, right? He goes, I don't know. And I'm like, well, I've never even locked keys in my car before. So, like, I'm really at a blank right now. I'm like, okay, I know what to do. I'm going to call Danny, right? And it is now probably, it's got to be 12:30, right? Midnight, 12:30, something like that. Maybe something to 1. So I call him, and he's so good, and he's kind, and he doesn't make you feel stupid, right? He answers, which is huge, and he says, hey, are you okay? That's what I'm saying. Right? That is your lead driver right there, right? And I'm like, well, the keys are locked in the truck, right? Not sure what we're supposed to do. And he don't say, what the hell did you do? Like, what are you, stupid? Like, no. He gives me 3 solutions immediately. 1, call a tow truck, right? Well, see, I never even thought of that because that's a big truck and how are they going to get in there? I don't know. And then, you know, if that doesn't work, you know, you can get towed and you can call a different number, like just solution. So I'm like, okay. I hang up and I'm like, okay. So the other driver's from New Brunswick. So I'm like, hey, so do you know any tow truck companies? He's like, no, right? Because he's from really deep into New Brunswick. So I'm like, okay. I look around, the perfect gas station to be stuck at, right? Because there's people everywhere. So then an ambulance pulls in, right? Wonderful. So I walk over, the guy went inside, the girl's outside, and I'm like, hi, excuse me. I said, do you know a number to a tow truck? She's like, no. She said, but my partner in there, Eddie, he knows everything. I'm like, perfect, right? So I go inside, and I'm like, hi, are you Eddie? He's like, yeah. I'm like, Eddie, do you know a number to a tow truck? He tells me the number right off the top of his head. You know, 506, blah, 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 blah. I'll just tell them that Eddie told me to call, right? He's like, yeah, sure, right? So I call the number. The guy answers. I explain the situation. He says, someone will be up there in about 10 to 15 minutes. Well, that sounds great to me, right? This guy comes in a truck, was fantastic, right? So he looks at the driver's door, and it's not completely shut. So it's a good thing, but really, like, that's what happened because the door wasn't completely shut and it locked, right? So he says, well, it's good. The door's not shut. all the way, because then he can put this little thing look like a blood pressure cuff. I'm like, oh my God, this is fantastic. I've never seen anything like this. So he's pumping it up, like, you know, it's amazing. It opens the door even more because the door's not shut completely. And then this big rod goes down, right? And it somehow opens the window and opens the doors and bada boom. Like it was 20 minutes, right? It was amazing. So then I got to go back over to the ambulance and I got to thank Felicia. And then I go over to find Eddie and I'm like, "Thank you so much." And he's like, "No problem. I'm glad they could help you." And he goes, "Thank you for all you do." For all I do? What? Yeah, I'm like, "Thank you for what you do, Eddie." He goes, "We're all part of the chain, right?" Because, you know, that's what it's like. This is healthcare, right? I'm a driver, right? But I'm driving the blood, the plasma, the platelets, everything. And he's picking up the patients. And he said, it's a chain, right? And I'm like, well, everyone here knows the tow truck driver. And obviously he's the beginning of that chain, right? People don't know what goes on in the background, right? We get it done. Things happen, right? You're human. I got to meet all these great people. And I told the other driver, I'm like, "Hey, put that number in your phone right away," because that is a connection we might need later.